Good morning. I hope you're awake now. And we're glad to be here on, let's see, it's February the 7th, correct? I meant to check. The time flies by, but good morning, and you are with us in the Education Instruction Full Committee, and it is Tuesday, February 7th. And so, as we started last week, if you will, I probably need to make sure we have the quorum, don't we? Clerks, will you please call the roll?
Representatives Sapicki, Chisholm, Cochran, Darby, Dixie, Glenn, Hakeem, Hicks, Johnson, Leatherwood, McCalman, Reagan, Todd, Warner, White, Vice Chair Raper, Chair Lady Moody. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. And as last week, we would like to start with the pledge and a prayer. So if you would like to join us, we'll do the pledge first. And Mr. Vice Chair Raper is kind enough to offer the prayer today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May we bow in prayer, please? Lord, thank you for all your blessings. You just keep blessing us when we don't deserve it. And Lord, just thank you so much for all you do for us. When we meet in Nashville, we're just asking for wisdom, discernment on making decisions. And everything we do, we glorify you. Lord, we thank you for your son Christ and his sacrifice and his grace and his mercy. We ask God in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you very much. So just as a little introduction, I've heard of, I had been hearing good things about the Goodwill Excel Center in Memphis, and I finally had an opportunity to go to an event and meet some of the faculty, some of the board, and just get to hear the most amazing work that is being done at this center. It is actually, I don't want to steal any thunder, but just to make it a simple explanation, this is an adult high school. And so, you know, as we know, just for different reasons, I know just from some of the alternative schools in our districts that I hear from, you know, you just never know what families are going through. I had one tell me about a mom and two kids, and she just put them in the car, and they drove around the country for a couple of years and decided they liked Tennessee and stopped. Well, these children were 2 years behind, and so this one director said, he said, it broke my heart because I knew if the older child, if I could have kept him for a few more months, he would have left with a diploma. But I couldn't. And he leaves with nothing. So, folks, this is such an amazing answer to that problem that we sometimes have, and for other reasons why our students don't complete and leave with a diploma. So we know the importance of that diploma for our students. It opens a lot of doors for them. And so I am going to quit babbling on because I want you to hear from the great folks here from the Excel Center, the Goodwill Excel Center in Memphis. And if you will, your microphone down there has a little, looks like a mouth speaking. If you'll hit that button, that'll turn your microphones on. And to get started, if you will, tell us your name and what you do at the Excel Center. And thank you for coming in today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair Lady Moody. My name is Chuck Malinsky. I work with the Goodwill Excel Center. I'm Vice President of the Goodwill Excel Center. I've been with the center about 5 years. Prior to that, I was with the Coca-Cola Company in the finance end of the business. So now I've been a part of this for 5 years, and I love what I do, and you'll see why in a minute, because the model is just off the charts. So anyway, we'll tell you a little bit more. So.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Candace Dawson. I'm still.
We're going to get this thing right.
Hello? Okay, got it. I'm Candace Dawson Taylor. I am the school principal of the Excel Center. I've been at the Excel Center since it opened in 2015. When I started there, I actually worked in the classroom as a teacher doing the college and career readiness component of the program that you'll hear about. I then transitioned about 9 months after opening into the lead teacher. About a year after that, I transitioned to the interim school director, and then after that, the principal. So I have been there since we opened, and really looking forward to present to you all the great things that we have done since 2015.
Thank you so much. And members, if you'll excuse me 1 second. We will have time. This is our only presentation today, so we will have time at the end of their presentation for questions. And so just keep up with what you want to ask. But thank you now. Please take it away.
So many of you all are probably wondering, what is the Excel Center? So the Excel Center is an adult high school, but I have to get this out first. We offer a regular high school diploma, a state of Tennessee, Memphis Shelby County School high school diploma. So it's not a high set or a GED. But we service students 18 and over, giving them the opportunity to come back to earn a high school diploma, as well as post-secondary education through our dual enrollment and also certifications prior to them graduating.
We're going to play a little clip here, we hope.
Well, our video's not working. I apologize. But that was a story of Terrence. It would have showed you a story of Terrence. He was a young man, came back to get his high school diploma. He worked various jobs throughout his adulthood. He was about 35, and he got to a place in his employment where he wanted to advance, and he wasn't able to produce a high school diploma. Due to his background, he dropped out of high school when he was in 16, and he almost was convicted of accessory to a murder. And so he tells his journey about how he dropped out of high school, and from there just had to go from job to job to job. And one of the things that promoted him to want to go back to school was because he had children, and they always asked him about his diploma and what some of the things he did when he graduated. And he had to be able to face them and tell them that because of his actions as a child, he never was able to pursue a high school diploma. And so he came back to our school. When he dropped out of high school, he was in the 11th grade, and within 6 months, he was not only able to complete his high school diploma, but he was also able to get his LLC license, and he was also able to open his own business. And now he's a successful business owner in Memphis. He does upholstery and design, so designing different shirts. He does all of our printing for the school, actually, now. And so he's just sharing his story about how the Excel Center helps him to be able to be a better provider for his family. Why do we do this and how do we do this? It's all about the relationships. It starts with our relationships. So in a traditional school, you have guidance counselors. At the Excel Center, we have life coaches, and we refer to them as coaches, steroids on wheels, basically. So they have the life coaching component and the guidance counselor component. The life coaches help our students navigate the academic piece, so letting them know what credits they need to graduate. We take their transcripts when they come in. They keep whatever credits that they had when they came from traditional school, and then the life coach tells them about what classes they need remaining. But the life coach also helps them on the aspect of life, so barrier removal. They assist them with utility assistance, mental health assessments, financial planning. They even go as far as if they have children in a traditional school system and they're dealing with certain barriers, they do the holistic approach with wraparound service so that the children don't repeat the same cycle that their parents did. And that's one of the lifelines of our program is the life coaches. It is a very rigorous program. So in a traditional school year, there's 180 days. For the Excel Center, a school year is 36 days. So every 36 days, students can earn up to 6 credits at our school. For instance, if someone dropped out of school in 9th grade or never even made it to 9th grade, they could finish our program from beginning to end in about 12 to 14 months. So it's very, very accelerated. We have 5 terms every school year. And it's face-to-face. So we have all certified teachers. So if you imagine a traditional school, it's just adults. They go to class every day. It's not an online program. They have to complete the same state standards as any traditional high school student, including the ACT and the civics test. We meet the students where they are, so we provide remediation support for our students. We provide SPED services and ESL services. So if a student had an ESL plan or an IEP in school or a 504 plan, we have a SPED and ESL department to pick up that area where they were in traditional school and make sure they're able to academically succeed as they navigate through our program. Some of the building blocks, again, as stated earlier, we have 5 school years. So we start our classes at the beginning of August and we go till about mid-June. We have free child care on site. So a lot of our students dropped out of high school because they were teen parents. We don't want that to be a barrier. We know that child care is very expensive, and a lot of times our students are making barely minimum wage or not working at all. So as long as they're students with us, we serve their children ages 6 weeks to 12 years old. We also provide them free transportation to eliminate that barrier of how am I going to get to school every day. And they're also able to utilize the transportation to get to work. So we want to also help them be able to bring in income into their household. The barrier removal, again, we do wraparound services. So food assistance, housing. We even work with some of the probation officers in the city if they are on probation and make sure that they're in compliance so that they don't violate their probation. We are starting dual enrollment. It will start in 2 weeks, and it is with Southwest Tennessee Community College and Tennessee College of Applied Technology. So our students have the opportunity to start working on their college credits before even obtaining their high school diploma, just trying to introduce them to a new aspect to further and continue their education. Our most important program is our Work Readiness Senior Seminar Program, and that's where I started at the Excel Center. I feel like it's our most important class because it helps our students to navigate everything they would need post-graduation. So we do soft skills training with them. They build a career portfolio. When they leave in their portfolio, they will already have 2 forms of a resume. They'll have a cover letter. They'll have several references, their senior project, their long-term, short-term goals. We have them to present this to a panel of different employers so they're used to speaking in front of different people. We also teach them everything they apply for the Tennessee Promise or the Tennessee Reconnect. We navigate them through how to navigate a college campus. So what is a bursar's office? What is the financial aid office? What is a refund check? Those things that sometimes traditional students don't know when they get dropped off on a college campus and you're like, wow, what is this? How do I navigate? We also help them with interviewing skills and just teach them all the components from how to complete a job application, how you should dress for a job interview, and how you should conduct yourself after the job interview to solidify and seal the deal. Our history. So the Excel Center did not just start in Memphis, Tennessee. It actually started in Indianapolis. And across the nation, there's 31 Excel Centers that have serviced more than 7,000 students across the country. So we're located in 5 states, and we are looking to expand more in Shelby County, which Chuck will talk about in just a second.
All right. Since I'm a numbers guy, I wanted to throw out 3 big numbers that I think it shows the impact of what a high school diploma is all about. Northeastern University did a study in 2015, and they figured out what is the cost of a dropout to a community, and that number came up to $292,000 for one dropout. It's a huge cost to the community. Everybody looks at it in their own little silo, but the whole cost to the community, it's really significant. In Memphis and Shelby County, there's over 120,000 adults that without a high school diploma. And then the third number is the number of graduates we graduated since 2015. We're real proud of that number, but we have a lot of work to do, as you can see. 1 out of 120,000, but we have a lot of work to do. And on that number, on that $292,000, what you're doing is converting a tax recipient to a taxpayer. It's a huge number, and also you're eliminating poverty, you're eliminating crime, and we want to continue, stop writing a check for crime. It's just too much. So anyway, those are 3 big numbers. I think that tells a big part of the story. A little bit about the Excel Center, some of the outcomes. On the left side, the 2 pie charts. Pre-enrollment, 84% are unemployed and receiving public assistance. Employed, low wages or part-time jobs, 38%. So that's when they come to the school. That's about what we're dealing with when they come in. Post-enrollment, 86% of our students are employed or in college upon graduation. I'm real proud of that number. It's real hard work, but we have a great workforce development program that gets those numbers up like that. Also, there's 78% of graduates see a positive impact on children's academics. It's a big deal when that child is going in that child center, seeing that adult getting their high school diploma. It breaks that cycle. It breaks the cycle is what we're trying to do. We have a $13,000 over 12 months increase in salaries, $20,000 after 2 years from the students we surveyed. A little bit more about the workforce and development. Candace mentioned about post-secondary and dual enrollment with Southwest and TCAT. We also have a workforce development program. Sam Dowdy has done a great job of putting that program together. It's certifications. It's what we look at is what is the community demanding on job opportunities, and we look at the student's interest, and then we looked at the student's aptitude. We put all those 3 together, and we go, golly, how can we get people jobs? Well, these are what we're working with right now. Electrical apprenticeship program, CDL if you want to be an over-the-road truck driver, OSHA 10, home builders if you want to be a carpenter. We teach that at the school. Entrepreneurship, what Candace mentioned earlier. LLC, you can get your LLC in that class. It's a great class. Cosmetology, pharmaceutical technology, nursing assistant program, event planning certification, forklift operations is a big deal in Memphis because of the warehouse and distribution, customer service, early childhood education, building coding, Microsoft Office, health, hygiene, and sanitation, and warehouse and supply chain leadership. So I'm real proud of that workforce development. It's a big deal, and Sam does a wonderful job in connecting and getting those students jobs. Just some other numbers here. You'll look at, it's like 69% of our students are female, 31% male. We've already talked about the 120,000. There's no cost to our program, zero, no matter what, period, nothing. I work on getting grants to apply and to do those wraparound services and workforce certifications. So there's no cost. 84% African American. The students that come there, they have about 2.9 children that we deal with as well. Of course, 100% dropouts. We've dealt with 4,800 students over the years. Average age right now is about 28. That number has been getting lower and lower as we get, but that number is since 2015. 36% without jobs when they enter. We've already talked a little bit about that. 1,071 graduates. 88% of our students are single and not married, and then I've already talked about the $20,000 increase with the wages. We were awarded a $12 million grant from the American Rescue Plan, and our plans are to expand across Shelby County to 3 more locations. So that's what this $12 million grant is for. So we're looking forward to that. We have 1 location already set up, ready to go. It should be opening in January 2024, and it's in the North Memphis area. So our goal right now is to continue with expansion and work on certification and dual enrollment programs to make us better and help, solve a lot of the problems in the community. So with that, it's enough of me yakking. Here you go. Questions, thoughts, concerns?
Yes, thank you so much for that PowerPoint and your talking points. All right, whose hand did I just see? Hakeem. Representative Hakeem, we are recognizing you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And I just want to say to both of you, after I listened to this, I'm asking myself, is this real?
I want you to come visit and see. I do.
Yeah. I mean,
real.
you're taking little or nothing, so to speak, and making something out of it. You're changing lives. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, to see the state come forward with $12 million, first of all, it says that you have some accountability about yourselves and you have results. And so I think it's a great partnership. I did want to ask a couple of questions dealing with the children, the little
ones.
children. Are they eligible for TANF funding, or do you all stay away from anything?
We've not had any luck with the TANF funding or relation to children. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at is when parents are trying to, develop themselves and get jobs and so forth, they need a place, a way to deal with services for their children.
Right.
But you all haven't been able to access that.
No, we do not. We have other, FedEx and Cummins are part of our, our programs and grants. We get through those and we use those to help fund that, the drop-in center.
Okay.
So.
And when we talk about barriers, some people have a prior history with the courts or law enforcement.
Big time.
Is there a way of assisting them to overcome those barriers? Because you could go through all of this and then apply for a job and you can't.
Absolutely. We want to change that cycle because otherwise, for example, crime, they're going to go right back into crime. So what we do is try to change that. So anybody that's a Shelby County resident can come to our Excel Center, whether they're a offender or not, with the exception of sex offender. Sex offenders we cannot allow in the building because of the children. So other than that, we work with everybody because we're trying to change them and not just keep writing checks.
And we also work with the district attorney's office for those students that have backgrounds. And our workforce development director has a great partnership with different employers throughout Shelby County that will hire students that are offenders. So she specifically works with them when she's doing their plan to see what trade are you interested in that you can fit in with your background. Because what we don't want to do is for the students, let's just say they're interested in nursing, but we know you have a background, you can never go work in a hospital or in a long-term care facility. So she really makes sure she works with them individually to make sure when they leave, the certification that they obtain, they're able to go out and pursue once they graduate. And then we also part of our accountability, what you mentioned, with Shelby County Schools, our students either have to enroll into college within 6 months of graduating. However, my requirement is I require them to do one of these 3 things before graduating, just to make sure while they're with us, they can do these things. They either have to enroll into college, they have to obtain a job making more than minimum wage. However, we don't place anyone on a job making less than $13 an hour. Or they have to obtain a certification prior to graduating. And so that lets us know that 100% of our students, once they graduate, they are either working on a job, accepted into college and receiving scholarship funds, or they have completed a skill trade that they can go into an employer.
Okay. Well, one last question, if I could, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
These students, the young man where we couldn't see the tape, he was working, I believe you said, smaller jobs and so forth. The students, do they continue with that present job and go to school? Or
Sometimes
Okay.
it just depends on the student. We recently had a graduate. I can't remember how old he was, but he worked for the city of Memphis. Older man. He had been with the city 30 plus years. Once he graduated, he just stayed with his employer. So it just really depends on the student and where they're working and what they're interested in once they graduate.
What I like too is we had a lady that was 72 years old, Miss Betty, and I asked Miss Betty, I said, why would you go and get your high school diploma at age 72, Miss Betty? What's that all about? Well, she said, I didn't want to just tell my kids and grandkids about the importance of education. I'm going to show it to them. And I went, whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. It was cool.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. I mean, to me, it's outstanding, and I'm going to have to talk with you some more. Come over to Memphis.
I would
or
love
something
for
like that.
anybody to come visit because it's special. I wanted Jesse. I've been bugging him to come on out.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Sounds like a field trip, right,
you go.
committee?
Let's go.
Okay. Next on the list, we have Chairman Reagan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have three questions for you. The first one is longitudinal studies. That is to say, beyond the point they leave you and they have employment or they're going to college, how much further do you follow them, and what is the success over time? Do you have any information on that?
Yeah, we have 3 surveys that we give our students. We have them right when they come at orientation. We survey them, in-length survey of what their needs are and all that, are they working or not. We survey them at graduation, and then every 6 months we survey them again. That's where some of this data is coming from. We were working on a randomized control trial with the University of Notre Dame, and it kind of so we're doing a quasi one right now because we want to prove that our model works. And so that's what we're doing, where University of Notre Dame will get access to the earnings data, and they'll show, what these people went to Excel Center, and this is what results here, and these people did not. Let's see the difference. And that's kind of what we're working on right now. So.
All right, thank you for that. My second question is concerning your child care program. Is there embedded within that program efforts to teach these children pre-kindergarten skills or kindergarten skills and so forth that they need that?
Yes, so we actually partner with Memphis Shelby County Schools Early Head Start program. So all of our staff attend their staff trainings throughout the school year, and then we use the same curriculum that they use with their Head Start program called Big Day for Pre-K. And so we walk them through everything from sight words to their sounds, their colors, their shapes, and then Memphis Shelby County Schools will come and even test them for pre-K upon their parents graduating. And one of the biggest things that we allow our children to do is when their parents graduate, they graduate at the graduation ceremony with their parents in a cap and gown. So we want to introduce them early on to the importance of education so they'll follow a positive path.
Well, follow up on that, do you have any longitudinal study over time on the effect on the children?
No, we don't have anything.
Okay, my last question is a problem that exists, I know in my district and others, employers will put out a call for need for workers, and more people will show up than they have jobs for. They'll sit through the indoctrination, they'll take a break, they tell them they've got to go to the restroom and provide a sample for drug testing, and after that, only a third of them come back. So what is the drug testing issue that you have going on, if any?
We don't drug test any of our students, but as part of our senior seminar class, we talk to them about things that will keep you from getting employed. And so with our life coaches, if we do have students that practice substance abuse or anything like that, the life coaches will kind of help them with those wraparound services. We just are very upfront, and we let them know, if this is the path that you want to take, these are the things you're going to have to stop doing in order to get into this field. And so it's really up to the student to make those changes.
Thank you. We appreciate what you're doing for our state, and we appreciate the results that you're getting. We hope you continue to get more.
Appreciate that. One
Thank
thing
you.
I do want to mention, I don't think you mentioned it, but our model it's an accelerated model. You can get your diploma in a year and a half, but it's at your pace, okay? I might just take this 8-week term, I'm going to take math and English, and I'm an adult, and I have to work in the afternoon, okay? So it's a flexible model too. Or I can go full-time and take 6 classes for that term. And so that's important, that flexibility, because we're dealing with adults. It's not you stay and sit in your class all day.
Thank you. And next on our list, Representative Glenn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To echo what Representative King said, it is really impressive what you all are doing there, and I think it is honorable to put something together like that actually addressed the adult literacy in our state. So I thank you for that. But I do have a question, a couple of questions. I know you told us how many graduate, how many actually drop out, and do you track why they drop out in order to try to help them to not drop out?
You mean the dropouts?
The dropout rate for once they
for
start
the dropouts for the dropouts.
No, drop out of your course.
So, part of our accountability model for Shelby County Schools, we have to retain 59% of our students every year. And so, this accountability model went into place about 3 years ago. We have not, went less than 88% in the last 3 years for retaining our students.
Awesome.
Yep.
And then my last question, you mentioned expanding in Shelby County. Is there a reason why you specifically staying with Shelby County and not expanding more across the state of Tennessee?
Yes, so with our model, because we are authorized by Memphis Shelby County Schools, but Goodwill is over the Excel Center. And so the Goodwill in each territory will have to say that they would like an Excel Center. And so our Goodwill territories is in Mississippi and parts of Tennessee. And so outside of Shelby County, we couldn't open another Excel Center unless that Goodwill of that territory wanted an Excel Center.
And also, we have to go through the districts, too. If we wanted to open this model, the Goodwill would have to agree. For example, in Nashville, they're looking at it. They would have to agree, but also the district of the school would have to, because you have to go to your school district first. I think it's a state law, is my understanding. And then if they accept you, then you can go in and do it. If not, you can do something else. You can't, that's my understanding of how that works.
Okay. I'll just say I think it's a great model. I think it's a great model, again, to address our adult literacy program issues. And I would love to see this program expanded through Tennessee. So as Representative Chisholm said, I'll be getting with you all on later on.
We look forward to it.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our list, Representative Dixie.
Thank you, Chair Lady Moody. Couple quick questions. One is, I think that you hit the nail on the head. If you can figure out poverty, you can solve a lot of problems, especially in crime. If people have a good job, they're not out robbing, stealing, killing because they know they can go provide for their family the next day and they don't have too much to lose. I just have a couple questions, and mine are more financial related. So what are the operational costs for one of your centers for a year?
Our budget's like $4.3 million for the one that we have right now. And we're going to go and expand, of course, and it'll probably startup cost about a little over $1 million, I would guess.
And what does that consist of? Like how many teachers?
About 13 teachers, yeah. 13 teachers. Life coaches, maybe 4 life coaches with a lead, registrar. What else we got?
I have a total of 28 staff in the building, and that's everywhere from the wraparound services to the daycare center to our certified teachers and front office operational staff.
And are the salaries for the teachers, how are they measured? Are they competitive with what's going on in the district? Or if they're certified teachers, do they still get credit as if they worked for the district as well, and it goes toward their years of service? Does that make sense?
So with the salaries, we are competitive with the district pre-pandemic, but we are working with our HR department to do a cost of income study to see if we need to increase the wages. We used to, prior to becoming a contract school, so we are a contract school with Memphis Shelby County Schools. Prior to that, we were a charter school. So when we were a charter school, yes, our teachers did qualify for the state retirement plan. But once we merged over from a charter school to a contract school, they no longer are able to keep those.
So we put a regular 401k in or 50, whatever.
All right. Just two more questions. One is that is your organization, is it for-profit or not-for-profit? Not-for-profit. Mm-hmm. But the Goodwill component is?
Both of them are non-profit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
I had a really good question that it'll come back to me. But if you'd let me reserve that.
Just let us know.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, next. Golly. You got it? Go ahead.
Bing, bing, bing.
And I guess this is kind of more directly toward you. I guess being a principal of that school is probably a little bit better than probably being in a high school because you don't have behavioral issues.
Oh, no, that is not true.
I've seen her expel people 3 in one day one time. It was unbelievable.
Really? Okay. Well,
but I will say that they know that they have to change something in their life, so there's not that, wouldn't you agree?
So I have a zero tolerance policy, but I do work with the students because we let them know it's a second chance program. So I work really, really close with the principals in the alternative schools in Shelby County. And so we have a lot of students that will transfer to us from the alternative school. I've never turned away an alternative kid from traditional school, and I've never had to expel an alternative kid that have come to me. A lot of times it's changing the scenery from what this child was used to, and if I can get them once they're 18 and they haven't been out of school in a long period of time, they'll usually go ahead and finish because now I'm finna graduate close with my peers. As far as the adults, a lot of the research that I have done has showed that most of the behaviors that I see with the adults are the same behaviors they exhibited when they were in school. So if truancy was an issue, insubordination was an issue, I'm able to see their record when they were a Shelby County School student. And usually they never received any type of supportive services on anger management or conflict resolution or time management. So if I was used to being transient all over the city, I didn't know that I needed to be at school on time. So some of the things that I've embedded in the program address those barriers early on. So we offer barrier buster classes every Friday. The students have to attend at least 4 sessions. The academic day is Monday through Thursday, but on Friday, that's when we do the life skills classes. So conflict resolution, parenting and poverty. We bring in a lot of community providers that provide those services. And then also just with some of the policies I have in place. So we have a 10-minute rule. If you're more than 10 minutes late, you don't get into the building, period. But we use this and it's a form of, on a job, you are expected to be at work on time, or otherwise you'll be reprimanded and fired. And so we practice that from day one. Also, they can't miss more than 7 days. A school year for us is only 36 days anyway. You can't miss more than 7 days or you're gonna get dropped from the program. So usually if I'm a student that's truancy was an issue, because those rules are already placed in the program, it forces them to have to address them. But yes, I do deal with occasional suspensions and expulsions.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Chairman Sapicki.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So I got a couple questions here, just listening to this whole presentation, along with questions that members have asked here. How tightly in Memphis do you partner with workforce and labor and economic development to work your curriculum to make sure that the kids who graduate have a place to go for a job? Do you partner with them very tightly?
Yes, our director of workforce development works with them and other agencies in the community to see what the workforce needs for Shelby County, and then we try to target that to what the students are interested in. So she does a very, very thorough background with the students to make sure that we're placing the right candidates with the right employer.
And we'll bring them in as well and have them come in and present to the students so they'll understand what these programs are. For example, Elliot Perry's had contacted me yesterday about looking for electricians, with Arch Key. Is it Arch Key? So he's looking for electricians. Well, I'm trying to supply some electricians, but I want to make sure they're interested. So we're going to have them come in and present and say, hey, this is what an electrician does, and so they'll get exposure that way. So.
Yes, Chairman Sapicki.
Have you reached out to Blue Oval City?
Oh, yeah.
As a pipeline for your
Yeah,
candidates?
they visited.
And then on the $12 million grant you got for ESSER, you said you're going to expand that to 2 more facilities. How are you going to have all this $12 million expended by the time ESSER comes due?
I hope so.
I mean,
we right now in the middle. We hadn't even got anything yet. We're working on the contract, and so hopefully we'll start to do the build out, using that money for the build out. I think $8 million is for the buildings. $1.5 million is for construction and new buildings, and then the other part is for wraparound services and workforce development programs.
but you'll be able to meet the timetable to have it spent before they have to get
I
back.
hope we're gonna.
It would be a shame if you didn't.
I know it. I know it. We'll work really hard. I'm a little nervous right now because we hadn't got off the ground yet, but we're trying.
And then, what was the reason for going away from charter?
We were the charter school laws in the state of Tennessee. Some of the accountabilities. One of them is you have to graduate 67% of your students on time. Well, that means by the time they're 18 years old, they have to graduate, and that's one of the accountabilities of a state charter law in Tennessee. Well, our average age is 27 years old. We can't do it. It's impossible because 10 years they've already passed their graduation date. So we couldn't get 67%. There's no way. So we went to Superintendent Hobson at the time and said, look, we're doing good work. We're a failing charter school because of the accountabilities we're held to. What can we do about it? He said, let's make you a contract school. Let's put in stipulations of how many people you get jobs for, how many people graduate based on enrollment, how many people get certifications, dual enrollment, retention. Those are things that are baked into the contract, which makes total sense to me.
And you said you're a 501c3? Mm-hmm. Now you have, because I know the chairman from Oak Ridge, didn't mention your name, asked a question about drug testing, right? Mental health issues for your students and things like that that are challenged. Have you guys worked on applying into the mental health trust fund to be able to gain access and funds for that, to issue mental health for your people that are there?
I don't think we have ever tried that.
Okay.
That access to those funds yet.
200 million sitting there.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, you said you have zero tolerance. Now, you said you allowed people that could be using drugs to come to your school, but you don't have a zero tolerance for drugs.
So they can't use drugs at school. So of course, if they come to school and they're under the influence, smell like marijuana, under influence of alcohol, then of course I use the same policy as a traditional school, so they can get a 3-day, 5-day, 7-day suspension. The zero tolerance is weapons, fighting of any kind. I don't have to expel them for 180 days. If they're expelled indefinitely from the Excel Center. But any lesser behaviors, such as the insubordination or marijuana, I can give them a 3, 5, or 7-day. But once they max out the 7-day, then it would go to an expulsion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Representative Hakeem.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the first graphics I think you all showed us dealt with $292,000. I don't know if that is that cost, I believe you said it was cost to the community?
Yeah, it's cost to the community for a dropout for during a lifetime for one dropout.
Okay.
And the cost includes converting that tax recipient. We're paying them to a taxpayer.
Okay.
It's a huge number. We're talking about Medicaid. We're eliminating Medicaid cost. We're talking about with crime. Lesser. We're reducing all those costs associated with that, and that's packed into that study. And it was done by Northeastern University. I think it was in 2015, I believe.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Representative Warner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you folks for being here. It seems like really good work you're doing. I stepped out a second, and I may have missed this on your slide. What is the graduation rate?
Our graduation rate is 86%.
It's wonderful. Unbelievable. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Representative Chisholm.
Thank you, Chair Lady. I have a boots on the ground question. So, from a boots on the ground standpoint, what is you all's biggest challenge? And if you had a magic wand, how would you fix that challenge?
That's a good one.
It's a great question. We need everything. No, I'm just kidding.
Boots on the ground. So I would say one of our biggest challenges that we see is with the enrollment piece. Because they're adults, is being able to get them before they start. So a lot of our students sometimes will apply, and then within 2 days, their numbers are no longer in service, or they haven't been accustomed to using their email addresses. And so that's one thing we're really trying to work with this local school district on, trying to, especially with the younger students that are over age for grade, getting them before they drop out. That's right. So one thing we've been able to do to address that is with the student that's over age for grade. Typically, if they are enrolled in a Shelby County school or any other public school in Memphis, they can enroll with us at any time during the school year. They don't have to wait until we start a new term. So that's kind of helped some of that for our younger students. Another thing I would say is biggest challenges is just with the barrier removal. There's a lot of support in Memphis, and there's a lot of programs in Memphis that do the same things, but not having access to all of them, like on a platform. So homelessness is one of the things we've talked about. A lot of our students are homeless. Well, in Shelby County, all the homeless shelters, they will not service a mother or a father if they have a male son over the age of 3. So if I'm a parent and I'm homeless and I go to my life coach and I say, well, I have a 10-year-old son, there's not one homeless shelter that I can put them in. And so the school has to eat up that cost because, of course, I'm not going to let them remain homeless. So we have worked with some of the different housing complexes, some of the hotels, where we will cover the cost temporarily for the student to stay until we can maybe find a family member somewhere. But again, if I'm a parent that has a female child, then I can place them in a homeless shelter. So that is probably one of our biggest challenges, is finding housing for our parents with male children.
I would think another thing too would be the finding those students. You know, I would love to have a list of the people that have dropped out of school. We've been, you know, would love to. I mean, gosh, we're trying to help these adults, you know, now, and we've never been able to. So what Candace and the team do is work with guidance counselors, and that's one of the main ways to attract students to our program, to have them understand, is through word of mouth. We do some marketing, we do billboards and TV ads, but to me, it's not as effective because you're getting people that really want to do and fill out the application, are serious about it, versus somebody that sees it going down on a billboard, go, oh yeah, I want to do that, and then they bail out again, don't show up, you know, so.
Thank you for what you all do for the city of Memphis and the state of Tennessee as a whole. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Representative Hicks.
Thank you, Chair Lady Moody, and thank you guys for being here. It sounds like a great program, something that's well needed across Tennessee. So we'll look forward to what the future holds for you. You know, I love the idea. It sounds like you're really trying to place the kid, place the student in something that interests them. So I'm curious to know, with the 88% graduation rate, what kind of testing is required for that student to be able to graduate? Walk us through that program and through that, how that happens. Thank you.
Okay, so when our students come to our program at orientation, all of our students are given a math and a reading assessment. With that math and reading assessment, they have to place on a high school level in order to start taking the classes they need to obtain their high school diploma. However, if a student places on between kindergarten and 8th grade remediation, then we put them in a remediation class first, because we want to make sure that if you're reading on a 5th grade level and your transcript says you need English 12, you're not going to pass English 12. And so we place them in a remediation class. And so I have certified elementary school teachers and certified middle school teachers that can fill in the gaps to get them caught up to where they need to be. Once they get on high school level, our students, they just complete the regular state of Tennessee requirements. So they have to take the ACT, they have to complete the 22 credits required by the state. We used to have to take the TCAP or Tennessee Ready, but we got a waiver from the state about 4 years ago, so we no longer take that. But they do have to also pass the civics test. And so once they've completed all of that, and then either doing the certification or accepted into college or a job, then we can award them a Shelby County School Diploma.
Thank you. Representative Cochran, excuse me.
Sorry, I didn't expect to have a question, but your last answer kind of sparked something. So could you tell me, or do you have an idea, the students that come to your program, how many of them can read on grade level?
So I can tell you that 56% of our students start our program not on high school level. So most of our students have to start in one of the remediation classes first.
And you may not know this follow-up. In general, do you know what grade level they're on? Are they usually 7th, 8th, 6th grade reading level, 7th grade? I didn't know if you might have an idea of that.
So math, I would say about 50% of them come in on middle school level. Excuse me, I take it back. For math, about 25% of them come in on at least the middle school level. Our reading is usually where the students struggle the most. Probably about 48% of that 56 have to start on between kindergarten and 5th grade remediation. And a lot of times it's just because they've been out of school a long time, they need those refreshers.
Because you can imagine a 50-year-old ninth grader. I mean, we have them. You know, it's.
I'll be interested. So, and some of your students are, I know some of them are older adults, but some of them have been in high school recently, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'd be interested to know that those 18 and 19-year-olds. And again, I know you're not going to have that at your fingertips, but maybe at some point, if you find that information, I'd be curious to know how many of those 18 and 19-year-olds are on a middle school reading.
Of course, I would think it would be quite higher than
So
norm.
if the only thing, if they come to us from high school, like they've never had a gap, we take them from whatever grade they are on and they just transfer as if it's another school. So they don't have to take the remediation test upon enrollment. But if they've had a gap in their education, then they would have to go through our remediation testing first.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. Any other questions come up? Well, I thank you for, again, coming up here and taking all the questions, and just we are excited about the work you are doing and the transforming of Memphis and the surrounding areas. It's so important. And I was struck by when you don't know, you don't know. Just how big the transportation problems are, and just something as simple that we take for granted of being able to go to a grocery store. Mm-hmm. There are some areas there that there's not one within walking distance.
Right.
So anything we can do to help these people rise above all that, and I just thank you and commend you for the work you're doing. I'm thankful that I got to meet you all, and we look forward to hearing more updates and expansion news from you, and anything we can do, let us know.
I tell you what, one thing you can do is
Yes,
for
sir.
me is if y'all are down in Memphis, I'm welcoming you to come visit the Excel Center. I can do dog and pony shows all day long. I'm not very good at it, but when you see what Candace and the team has done, you can see the culture, and it's a whole different level. And so I'm real proud of what she's done and the team. So I'd love for you guys to come see what we do.
Yes, I haven't even been yet, so we will see if we can work on how we can coordinate that. And it may have to be after session if we did want to do something together, but certainly I would encourage you all, if on your own, if you're ever near Memphis, to think about calling them up and going by and seeing the good work in person. It really makes a difference. Well, again, thank you so much, and keep up the good work, and we do look forward to hearing more from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, members, that's all we had on our agenda for today. So because you've been a good committee, you get out early. So behave accordingly. And we are adjourned.